Okay, oh, not me kicking my whole camera. Good morning world and all who inhabit it. So this is a video I've been wanting to film for a very long time, but I didn't know when to film it. So I just decided today, just randomly, I said, you know what, let's do it. I've been wanting to film this. Let's just do it today. So this is a story of my misspelled tattoo. Yeah, I have a misspelled tattoo. This is what it looks like. I don't really know what else to say about it, but it is misspelled. I'm going to give a little context so that we kind of understand the mental state that I was in when this tattoo was born. I got this tattoo around August of 2018. I am married to my husband. We've been married for almost 2 years now, and we started dating, hold on, I gotta do math, like 14 years ago, and we knew each other even longer. So we've known each other since we were kids, basically. We started dating basically when we were just becoming adults, like freshly 18 was when I was dating my husband. Needless to say, we did not have a lot of life experience when we started dating. Of course, you know, you're young and in love, but there was a lot that we needed to learn. My husband and I actually broke up, I want to say in 2018 or end of 2017. I can't really remember specifically. And we were broken up for about 2 years. 2018, I like to say, was my year of self-discovery. I had gotten out of a long-term relationship that I had been in since high school, basically. I didn't know who I was. I just graduated college the year prior. I was a sub teacher at the time because back then, to be a sub teacher in California, basically all you needed was a bachelor's degree, and then you took some tests, got some certifications, and you're good to go. I was a sub teacher because that was the easiest job to just get right away, right after college. And my mom worked in education, so it just kind of seemed obvious. The nice thing about being a sub teacher was I could basically make my own schedule. So I got to go in whenever I wanted. I just picked up jobs. There was like a job listing website and you could just pick up a job and there you go. I would often, you know, work maybe like 3 days a week. It was very part-time vibes in that sense. Like you'd work a full day or a half day, but you really got to determine how much you wanted to work. I also was working at like a local theater company and I would teach acting lessons. So I had like a few jobs, but they were all very part-time, very pick your own hours, that sort of thing. And I also did DoorDash and Postmates for a little bit. So I definitely was just out there grinding. However I could make money or pick up cash, that's what I was doing. But I didn't really have any bills. I was living with my parents. Yeah, I was just in my early to mid 20s, living my best life. And I was single. I was partying it up. Late nights, a lot of like crazy adventures with my friends, a lot of mischief. This type of stuff you should be doing in your early to mid 20s, okay? And just figuring out who I was. I felt like there was an idealized version of myself that I couldn't explore. And so I took this time to kind of make that happen, I guess, if that makes sense. Dyeing my hair, tattoos, and all the stuff that I saw on other people that I wanted, but I was too scared to get for myself. That's what I was doing. At the time, I started using Tumblr again, which is how you know you're really not in a good mental state if you're using Tumblr, because Tumblr is... nothing good can really come of Tumblr if we're being really honest. So I was back on Tumblr and I was really in my emo era. You know, when you're going through a breakup, especially with somebody that you care a lot about, you have emotional waves, right? It felt a lot like grief. Like sometimes you have really good days and sometimes you have really bad days. Sometimes I'd have really sad days. Up until this point, I had put so much pressure on myself, especially as a kid growing up. I was a high achiever in school. I constantly was hard on myself and telling myself how I needed to be better. You know, I did theater a lot. You have to have a certain type of image to be the type of girl that gets cast in roles. I really couldn't experiment with my looks or with my personality. I just felt like I had put myself in this little box and I was trying to fit into this box and be what everyone else wanted me to be. Once me and my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, broke up, I just felt like I had nothing to lose. And so I felt like, why not? Like, let's just do it all. What am I afraid of? What am I so scared of? So I really was glued to this idea of nothing being permanent. And I saw this tattoo on Tumblr and I was very inspired by it and I said, I want this tattoo. This speaks to me. I really resonate with this statement right now. Like nothing is permanent. And the irony of a tattoo saying nothing is permanent, I thought that was really beautiful. I don't know, Tumblr vibes. I really resonated with that because at the time I felt like so much of what I had invested in was kind of blowing up in my face. And it wasn't just my relationship, my romantic relationship, but I had friendships that were kind of falling off. I was just really in a period of growth and change. Yeah, that really resonated with me. So I had it in the back of my mind, that picture of that tattoo. One night, some of my friends come over. It was one of those nights, you know, crazy adventures, having a good time. We're young. Who cares if you have work in the morning? Let's stay out till 3 in the morning, which is something you can only do in your early to mid 20s, because once you're nearing 30, when you stay out till 3 in the morning, the next day you might as well have drinking a whole box of cheap boxed wine to yourself. Like, that's how horrible you feel. Like, you just feel so trash if you stay up late as an older person. Okay, I'm not saying I'm old, but I'm in my 30s now, so no, I don't stay up till 3 in the morning. But back then I did, and I was able to go to work the next day, chug an energy drink, keep it pushing. This was one of those nights. My friends came over. We were like living it up. Nothing crazy. We were mostly just hanging out, talking. There was a little bit of the marijuana, the alcohol. Okay, not a lot, a little. But I will say at the time, I had a little pen, I think, one of those disposable Rove pens. Everyone uses the Stizzy now, but not a lot of people remember the Rove, okay? The Rove pens. The girls who get it, get it. The Rove pens. So I had a little Rove pen, and throughout the night, you know, I'm hitting this pen. There was this donut shop in LA. I'm not from LA. I don't live in LA. We're from like an hour outside of LA. And so my friends are like, there's a donut shop in LA. We should go. And this donut shop's 24 hours. It's probably like 10 or 11 p.m. at this point. And they're like, guys, there's a donut shop in LA. It sounds amazing. Let's go get these donuts. I was like, let's go, baby. So a few of us went. We're talking in the car, yada, yada. I'm hitting this Benjamin. I'm not like so far out of my mind. I should say at the time, obviously my tolerance was higher. I am like a sober Sally now, okay? I probably would have been on the floor, but back then I had a much higher tolerance because I was in my party girl era. We're just vibing. By the time we get to the donut shop, I'm starting to feel a little, you know. And we get to this donut shop. Here's photos from me at the donut shop. I was having a great time. I even have a cropped Rolling Loud shirt. I just remembered, yeah. Where is that shirt actually? Did I lose it? Probably put it in storage somewhere. I don't know. Anyways, I went to Rolling Loud and I saw Post Malone. If you want to know what kind of girl I was, and let me tell you, Post Malone, he wrote some great breakup songs, okay? That really helped me at that time. So I had my little cropped Rolling Loud shirt. I was eating a donut. And you know, I thought I was fat back then. I weighed a solid 50 pounds less, I think. Anyways, I was eating my little donut, living my best life. And somebody says we should get tattoos. Who said it? I don't remember. Why they said it? I don't remember. I might have been the one to say it. If we're being honest, I might have been the one to say, let's go get tattoos. I don't remember. But we're sitting there eating donuts in LA. At this point, it's gotta be like, if it wasn't 11 p.m. already, it's 11 p.m. now or midnight, okay? And we're munching on donuts in the middle of the street in LA. Let's go get tattoos. Let's find a tattoo shop. Oh my God. Let's find a tattoo shop that's 24 hours. I will say there's a lot of tattoo shops that are 24 hours, and just because you are a 24-hour tattoo shop doesn't mean that you're not reputable. But I will say this, good tattoo artists, you need an appointment. Good tattoo artists have operating hours that are pretty normal. So when you're in the middle of LA Googling 24-hour tattoo shops, it can almost be guaranteed that something's not gonna go right. So one of my friends, he has a cross tattooed on his finger, but if you guys know anything about tattoos, like hand tattoos and finger tattoos wear off obviously because you're washing your hands more, you use your hands more, they produce more oils. Those tattoos tend to fade much quicker. So he wanted to get that retouched. One of my friends was talking about getting a piercing or something. I don't know. So we ended up finding this tattoo shop. We go in there. This tattoo artist, I can't remember his name. I don't even remember where we were. And it's probably better that nobody knows because I don't want to ruin his reputation. It was a pretty big shop. It was good size. They had good reviews. So we're like, yeah, this is gonna be fine. We go in. This guy, I'm not gonna say he was also hitting the Benjamin, but I'm not gonna say he wasn't hitting the Benjamin. It was just him and one other guy in the shop, okay? And this guy is the artist. The other guy, I don't think he was an artist. I think he just worked there. I don't know. I don't remember. This tattoo artist, he had plaques on the walls. He was an award-winning Aztec tattoo artist. He won awards for Aztec tattoos. And I was like, an award-winning tattoo artist? None of my tattoos are award-winning, so this is a step up already. That's what I'm thinking. But just because a tattoo artist is good at one thing doesn't mean they're good at everything. His Aztec tattoos are probably amazing. That doesn't mean that he could recreate a Tumblr tattoo. Mind you, I was off the Benjamin and we're at this tattoo shop and I go, I know what I'm gonna get. While we were on the way to the tattoo shop, I start pulling up the Tumblr photo and I said, guys, this is what I'm getting. And they're like, slay sister, period. Love my friends supporting me. And they were like, yeah, it's cool. I was like, I'm gonna get it on my arm right here. wow. We start talking to this tattoo artist. We're like, can you tattoo us now? He's like, yeah, sure. He's talking a little slow. He's a little like, yeah, sure, man. So I show him, this is what I want. He's like, here's what I need you to do. He's like, I need you to write down exactly the words, exactly as they're exactly the spelling, because these are words. We're writing words on your body. I need the spelling to be precise. So make sure you spell it correctly. Slay King, I'm locked in. I'm like, I'm going to spell these words correctly. I Google them. I quadruple check. And something about me is I'm like, I believe I have OCD. That's a whole nother subject. Part of it is that I get very anxious and quadruple check everything. So I quadruple checked that this was spelled correctly, okay? I know I did. And I know everyone's like, but you were hitting the Benjamin. That doesn't matter. These were 3 words that I knew how to spell. So I quadruple checked. I Googled them. I spelled it correctly. I had my friends check who were sober. My friends were sober at this point. I think one of my friends only had like 1 drink, okay? I had them check. I quadruple checked. Okay, my spelling's correct. I hand it off to the artist. He's like, perfect. Mind you, I wrote on a piece of paper like this big. He's like, okay, I'm gonna make it on transfer paper so we can kind of get it going. Perfect. The issue here is that I put my faith in this man to translate what I wrote into what he wrote, okay? Because he had to now spell out. I had to spell out the phrase that I want, but he also had to spell it out. This is where I messed up. This is where I went wrong. I quadruple checked my work. I did not quadruple check it. I didn't check his once. I didn't check his at all. Nobody did. Mind you, he's a tattoo artist. He's probably trying to make sure the handwriting is good, the aesthetic is good, the line work is good, the shape of the letters, the size of the letters. I understand that. Also, it's probably like 2 in the morning in LA. And I'm pretty sure this man's hitting the Benjamin because he was going out to take smoke breaks, but he would come in talking a lot slower. Cigarettes don't make you talk slower. So he's taking his smoke breaks. He's coming back in, whatever. He shows me, I'm like, love the design. Love the design. It's perfect. He transfers it on. He says, placement. Is the placement good? Love it. Placement's great. He's like, fantastic. He starts doing it. My friends are in the corner, kiki, ha ha ha, we're all ha 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 talking. He goes over it twice. He goes once and then he goes over it twice just to really make sure. This red X is not there, okay? Imagine the red X is not there. Kiki, ha ha ha. I post it to my Finsta stories because back then there wasn't a close friends, okay? I have a Finsta just for my close friends. I post it to my Finsta stories. My friend, he's on his phone, stands up. I'm like, what? He comes over and he looks at my tattoo. Looks at me, looks at my tattoo, looks at me. I said, what? What happened? He said, look at your tattoo. I said, what about it? He said, look at it close. It hit me. This tattoo doesn't say nothing is permanent. It says nothing is permanent. This man is finishing the last T. I remember this. You don't forget something like this. He's finishing the last T. And he says, what do you think? This is not an exaggeration. This is exactly how this happened. He said, what do you think? I said, we have a problem. He said, what? I said, I think we misspelled this word. He said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. He told me a story how he misspelled a tattoo on his own mother. This is how I found out this man can't spell. And he said, that's why I told you to write it. And I said, I did. What did you write? He said, well, this. He said, I wrote this. He said, I told you to check it. I said, you're right. I didn't check it. We're all laughing and freaking out because I'm laughing. I'm not mad. I'm laughing. I'm like, I've been hitting the Benjamin. This doesn't even feel real, you guys. At this point, I'm dissociating fully. I'm like, this isn't actually happening to me. This is a dream. It's 3 in the morning and I've been hitting the Benjamin all night. I'm not in LA at 3 a.m. getting a misspelled tattoo. That's not me. That's never happened to me. This is a dream. I'm dissociating fully. So I'm just giggling. This is funny. What crazy. And he goes, I could put a red X through it. I said, red, you say? Will you be charging me for color? No, I'm doing it for free. Not the tattoo. I still paid for the tattoo. He gave me a huge discount. I still did pay him though, but you know, he added that color red X for free. He's like, I'll add it in there for you. And so that is how we arrived at this. And if I'm being completely honest, this is my favorite tattoo. By far, it's my favorite tattoo, for sure. Every time people see it, they don't think anything of it. They think, that's kind of funny. They don't know. No one knows. Of all the tattoos to misspell, misspelling nothing is permanent, and then using a little red X. And I'm gonna kind of explain, I'm gonna retcon the whole thing. I think this tattoo is beautiful because what it goes to show is you're gonna make mistakes in life, and they are indeed permanent. Sometimes things go wrong, and sometimes you can't change that. It is what it is. But it becomes a part of your story, and it becomes a part of the larger image. And it makes it better. If we're being honest, if there wasn't that mistake, this tattoo would be kind of lame. Can we be honest? It's kind of lame. It's a little try hard. This makes it even more ironic, even more funny. And because of that, it just kind of goes to show your mistakes sometimes make you more interesting and more funny and cooler. Yes, is that me kind of trying to justify something that went terribly wrong? Yes, but also it's my favorite tattoo now. This is my favorite story. I love this story. I love telling people this story. It also was such a reflection on that time in my life because I was just such a mess and I was really exploring myself and becoming who I am today. I'm proud of the things that I did right and wrong at the time because they taught me a lot about myself and the world, and who I am now is a billion times better than who I was before that phase in my life. Now I'm married to my husband. My husband and I were broken up at the time because we were both young and stupid and had a lot to learn. After that 2-year period of not being together, we came back 1,000 times stronger because both of us grew and changed during that time. And none of that would have happened if I didn't make a bunch of stupid mistakes, like getting a misspelled tattoo. That's my story. Oh, and the best part is when I woke up the next morning, again, dissociated. Me and my friends are cracking up the whole ride home. I'm like, hee, because again, I've been hitting the pendulum all night and I'm like fully dissociated at this moment. I'm just like, whatever. I knock out. Didn't clean the tattoo, by the way, and there was no second skin or anything like that. I literally just fell asleep with my arm like this, raw tattoo. I woke up at 8 in the morning and I was like, why does my arm hurt? And I looked at my tattoo and I said, oh no, this thing is huge and it's misspelled. How am I gonna tell my parents? So I drove to Walgreens at 8 a.m. and this Walgreens by my parents' old house has seen me through many phases in my life, especially during that period. I was at that Walgreens a lot, getting whatever I needed for whatever misadventures I was getting involved in that day. I was all up in that Walgreens all the time because it was open 24 hours or almost 24 hours. So at 8 in the morning, I was driving to that Walgreens with my misspelled tattoo, getting some unscented dial soap and Aquaphor, really reflecting on what I had done. The reality set in. My neighbor's dogs are barking. I think it's time for me to wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed the story though. And yeah, if you like my videos, please subscribe, like, comment, share the video. It does help a lot. If you're watching this and you want to support me, please like, comment, share. Even if you just share it to me, I don't know, like literally like just share it. Any sort of interaction really helps with the algorithm. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Goodbye.